Hi everyone, how are you today? So I wanted to talk today about if you keep falling off your diet, um, think outside the box. So here's the thing. I imagine that a lot of people have fallen off their diets, cheated, um, just not been able to stick with it. Think the diet's great because it works really well in the beginning, and you lose a lot of weight, and then um, maybe it's not working as well for a little while, or it gets hard to do, and it's hard to stick with. And here's the thing: I'm not going to bash anyone's particular diet, um, but I am going to say from as somebody who has lost and regained weight quite a few times, and now I'm the lowest I've been since I was 20 years. Well, even before that, probably more like 18, 19, something like that. I haven't weighed this little. Um, and I'm no spring chicken. um, I have eventually fallen off. I've taken it really seriously, worked really hard at it, and lost quite a bit of weight. But then I've had ones where I just couldn't stick with it. But like I believe in this. This is really working. At least it worked for me for a little while, and now it doesn't seem to be working. Or it's the this is really cool, but man, this is hard to stick to, and I would go off plan. Um, you know, that's more mainly what I'm thinking about right now is the one. But they seem great. They have it's a great idea. Um, at first you think, wow, this is really great, and then it's like, man, I can't seem to stick to this. And this is what I've learned as somebody who now has lost 125 pounds. I am no longer obese. Like I said, lightest I've been since I was like 18, 19 years old. I, as somebody who now enjoys her diet and is, looking in 3-4 months being at my goal weight, and I'm not taking it, super, super fast, but I'm not taking the slow track either. And somebody who, as I mentioned in several of my videos, part of it's the mindset, becoming a new person, right? So thinking outside the box here. So let me give you one example. And that's from personal experience. And I had a hard time giving this up in the middle of last year. And the big old craze of the sugar diet, where now there are different versions. Some people did, more the sodas and the candy and the sugar and that kind of thing. And then there was me. I did more the fruit and the fruit juices type of realm. And at first it was great. It was great for me. Now I'm in a different position now. Things would probably work a lot better for me now if I ever tried it again. But I always did the version where it was breakfast and lunch were, your fruit juice type of thing. And then I would have, some lean meat or lean something, that's protein rich, and some vegetables for dinner. And that's what I would have. And yeah, I lost 7 pounds in a week. I gained 2 of it back because there was a lot of water weight loss there. But like, wow, this is really great. And then I would try it again. And then I could only stick with it for so long. And then, yeah, anyway, it was kind of not the most balanced thing in the world. Now, some people did really, really, really well with it and stuck with it for quite a while. And then they went on to do something else. And some people gained some of the weight back. Some people, transitioned to something else and did much better. And so, for some people, it was a good springboard for, maybe I should try more carbs. And maybe sugar isn't that terrible, and, maybe not in the quantities that some people were using long term, but it was a good springboard of don't be afraid of fruit. Because a lot of people transition to, I'm going to go with fruit now. That's what I did. And not all fruit, within a balanced diet approach, but yeah. Some people went more, okay, I'm going to do more starches and beans and fruit and that kind of thing. But a lot of us felt a lot more energy. There were some really good points to it. But for me, I had a hard time, like, but I believe that this is going to work. And I would stick with it for a while. And then, but, I've got to have some days when I'm, don't have that. And I would eat, more normal type of whatever, try to keep it down. And I wasn't going anywhere. I was spinning my wheels back and forth because unfortunately I ate too much on the other days. I know that now. But yeah, it ruined all my progress. And it probably wasn't for me, probably not the best thing at that point for me. So finally, I got to the point where it was like, okay, I need to see what I can do that involves having some more fruit and not so much juice. I learned that more fruit, have, like coffee in the morning. Okay. And then go to something, maybe have some fruit with it for lunch and maybe a little bit of fruit for dinner even. And, and a little more, like I said, with having some protein rich sources with it and, maybe some starches somewhere in there. And, I learned how to have some of what I liked, which is more carbohydrates and more of the sugary type carbohydrates, and yet make it work and start losing weight. But it wasn't until I got off I believe this works because it worked for me to be at the beginning, except I can't stick with it. I had to think outside the box. And I did find a channel, which is Chris Body, Mind, Spirit, and learned that, and it needs a little more balance in there, but it's a good, springboard. So then I see people, they're like, I keep falling off. I just, it's so hard to lose weight when you're over a certain age, like over 50 or something like that, right? Well, in some ways, it's not as easy as it used to be when I was in my 20s and my 30s. I'll have to admit that. But it doesn't have to be hard. It can be fun. You can make it something that's, enjoyable, sustainable. And that's the main thing that I want to say is if you're falling off and you keep cheating, that I just gave you my story, and there are other ones, but that's a recent one, then the thing is, it's not working the way it is. I hate to tell you that. I don't care if you're doing keto, carnivore, a whole food, plant-based, no seed oils, no oils, no sugar, no salt, no whatever, or whatever version of whatever. You staying all vegan, you're doing whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not picking on one diet here, okay? But what I'm saying is, over and over, I see people who they believe in this so much, they just believe this is going to work, but they keep falling off because it's not working. You can't sustain it. You keep going off of it and keep, and going back to the same point and going off of it and going back or even gaining more. And so think outside the box and go, well, I like this about it. Like with mine, I like the fruit. Boy, I feel so much better. I have so much energy, but I'm kind of awfully hungry. Now, nowadays, I can make me feel more filled up for a while, and I can do it some days, and it can work out for me. But I don't go back to more of a cheating, like, oh, now let me go have ice cream, and let me go have lasagna, let me go have enchiladas, and let me whatever. Doesn't matter. It's and eat too much. And it's obviously, sorry to say it, guys, but you do have to be at a caloric deficit to lose weight. Now, it's not that the math always works out perfectly, but overall, generally speaking, I mean, sometimes people have a day when they ate some particular way and they actually went above their caloric maintenance and have lost something. Well, there's water weight issues and different things that there are little quirks that happen. So, but overall, generally speaking, you got to be in a caloric deficit. It's just, sorry to say, you do. Now, I'm not saying a huge caloric deficit, and it's all from, what you eat. Obviously, it can be from exercise as being part of it too, but usually it takes some caloric deficit of what you're eating plus some more exercise. That's the best way for most people. But take what you like about whatever it is. Let's say you love carnivore. In some ways, you just love it because you love having, you love meat, you love eggs, whatever version of carnivore it is. I've never tried it. I'm not a big meat eater, and lots of protein is not the best for me. I mean, a sufficient amount, but not too much. And I would probably be considered light on my protein by many people, but I've lost a lot of weight by not eating all that much protein. But I'm not talking about super low protein either here, guys. I do get enough that, it's the minimum amount, but I get it in. But anyway, it's not really, yeah, you can lose without it. I promise. I am living proof you can. But you like meat, you like protein, it makes you feel good, makes you feel satiated. Wonderful, fantastic. So the thing is that people are craving carbs and they want the carbs. But you know what? People call carbs things that are like pizza and French fries and pastries and things like that. It's like those are foods that are made to make you want to eat more, and they're not pure whole foods and minimally processed carbs. Those are the ones I'm talking about. I'm talking about fruits and whole grains and vegetables, basically. That and legumes, beans, that kind of thing. Those are carbs, as in whole foods and minimally processed types of foods. That's eating enough of those is what's kept me from wanting to binge on, ice cream and cake and pastries and bread and whatever else. I mean, bread can be okay. It depends on which one. If it's like a few ingredients kind. But I can tend to overeat it, so I try to be careful. But anyway, the big thing is people crave carbs because the body is screaming for it. Your brain works on carbohydrates, on glucose. That's what it's looking for. And yeah, you can make it from, if you through gluconeogenesis, if you have too much protein. True, but that's you're craving it, right? I mean, I'm, just being real here. So that's why there are other plans. And one thing is, you got to make it your own. Whatever you do, you got to make it work for you. Tweak it to make it work. And so if you love meat, sometimes if you look at the calories, if you put it into your ribeye steak can be 1,200 calories or more. Sometimes you have to tweak things and find a way to harness having a lot of that and yet having a little more balance in your diet. Maybe that's what it is. But I'm not telling you exactly what to do. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not going to tell you all those things. I'm just just from experience learning, I love that fruit, I really do. But now, and the energy, how do I make this all work out so I can continue to lose weight and, not feel hungry also, but, enjoy some of the parts of it. So that's the thing, is think outside the box, make it your own. That's what I suggest. It's just a suggestion. That is it, is learning how to make it your own, learning how to make it something you can do most of the time. Yeah, of course, everybody likes to have a time when they, go to somebody's birthday party and then, you're gonna not do what you normally do. I do that occasionally. And it's about living your life. That's all part of it too. Have, a plan that where you never let you go, live your life and go to birthday party and eat some of the things, and so maybe you don't eat all of them, maybe some of them, whatever it is. Go on vacation and try some interesting things to eat. But there are ways of doing that, and that don't mean losing or gaining a lot of weight. But being so stuck to, I believe in this, I have to do it this way because this is the way. It's the camp of, blinders on, this is how I have to do it, versus let's have a broader scope and go, I'm getting outside the box here, and I like this. This works. This doesn't work as well. You need to incorporate some of this. Let's try this. Let's trial and error and make it into something that works for you. Make it your own. Make it something that you enjoy, that is flexible. That's what I recommend. It's just a talk. I'm just giving you my little experience, and what I see online and on YouTube a lot are people who just keep falling off their diets. And it's like, yeah, I know, I hear you, I really do, but it may be the diet that in the form you have, it may not be working for you. I know it may seem a little tough to say that, but I'm just here giving you ideas, what works for me, what didn't work for me, and just things I observed that I find really sad. But if you just tweaked it, made it your own, made it something a little more enjoyable that you could stick to. So with all of that, you all have a great day. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, I lost 125 pounds so far, and I love my diet. I'm able to learn how to go and have the Christmas party and the birthday parties and all of that, and still not ruin things, and have a positive attitude. Learn to become a new person who makes friends with healthier foods that sustain you and keep you from overeating, or at least overeating too much. Be careful about some whole foods though, because they can, and minimally processed foods, because some of them are a little easier to overeat, like meat and avocados. Okay, that's what I have to be careful with. But you can do it. You can do it. Just learn to make it part of your lifestyle. Learn to make it part of who you are, and part of you being who you are is learning to make the diet your own, and something that's enjoyable, that is sustainable, that you can keep doing, and you will have a great day. Bye-bye.